There are some really big challenges facing us at this point in time. There are issues to do with water, to do with climate change, ocean acidification. These are pressing problems, pressing issues, and it would be tragic if we didn't engage with the public in order to get the whole process moving fast enough before it is too late.
Public engagement can enhance communication skills, it can enhance career development, it can also enhance the actual funding that they get into the university by getting local links with industry, internationally for instance. It's of benefit to everybody, and I think that hasn't really been articulated before.
It's very important that people generally can understand what it is that we're trying to tackle and what some of the consequences might be for them as users some way down the line.
What we've got in there is a reaction that's producing hydrogen and stuff.
Public engagement with research is a huge number of different activities. It can be anything from science communication in festivals all the way through to public dialogue. But for us, any sort of good public engagement activity includes sort of interaction and listening to the audience. Young people are so enthusiastic about the issues that are affecting our world, and they don't often realise the complexities of an issue can cover anything from arts and humanities to social science to hard physics, and to get them to be able to thinking about these issues and realise that that's what science is about, answering the big questions for our society, is fantastic. I also think it's really valuable for our researchers as well, because I feel when you're a researcher, you often feel like you're very isolated, you're thinking about one sort of particular aspect. And actually to look at the wider landscape and actually be able to see all of these connections enhances their research so much that they're actually able to do more multidisciplinary research, they're able to think about the impact that their research might have and their next steps. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted to have the Concordat, which sets out the different principles about what it is that research funders expect for public engagement, setting out the principles of why we feel it should be valued, how people should be trained in it, how they should be supported within their institution, so that it is shown this is something that we really value.
The area that I work on and what I'm really very passionate about is developing the technologies that will allow us to produce sustainable biofuels from waste materials. The population is still increasing very rapidly at the moment, and so we're going to have a 50% increase by about 2050. That means that we've got to be able to produce about 50% more food to feed everybody on the planet. So the key issue is that we need to be able to produce fuels sustainably. We need to be able to produce biofuels sustainably to replace oil. At the moment, that's causing problems in terms of food security, so we need to get away from the food materials that are going into these biofuels. I do believe there's a good general awareness amongst the public that this is a very important issue. Engaging in a public debate gives an opportunity to bring a bit more information to that debate and to discuss, to have the ability to have a backwards and forwards discussion with people about what their concerns are, and hopefully, where appropriate and sincerely, allay those fears in those discussions.
The public really need to understand the options that we're having to examine for future energy supply. And there are two reasons for that. One is that energy is such a critical part of the modern world, and how we supply it in the future is going to impact on everybody's lives. So it's very important that they've got an understanding of what's being done and why it's being done. So, good evening again, everybody. And I'm going to stand down here so I can see what's on the screen. I'm just going to talk to you for about 5 minutes. And what I want to do is talk to you about what we generally in the trade call the energy challenge. And that is that, driven by concerns about climate change, the government of this country has taken a binding legal commitment to reduce the carbon emissions by 80%, so that they reduce to 1/5 of what they are today by 2050. For the public to have a basic understanding of what the drivers are, why we're having to go down certain directions, what the constraints are, really helps in understanding some of the difficult decisions that both policymakers and technologists and researchers have to make.
I wonder whether, if that question had been asked a couple of weeks ago, you might have answered differently. No. Seriously? Okay, that's fine. Just thought I'd ask that question. Okay, let's move quickly on.
If you're standing outside the specialist field of expertise, the issues that you see sometimes are very different to the ones seen by the people inside it.
Everybody voted? Which of these statements, if any, most closely reflects your own opinion? A, benefits far outweigh the risks.
Issues get highly simplified in the popular press and usually simplified towards the more hysterical end because that's what's going to sell you papers.
So it's a really good learning experience for the researchers to get first-hand from the members of the public what they want to know about, what they're concerned about, and that might even shape some of the research going forward.
My overall concern is the fact that we need to be much more radical in our approach.
To run our society, we're going to have to be a lot more energy independent. We're going to have to use a lot less. We're going to have to consume a lot less.
It's a bit doom and gloom, actually, wasn't it? I was thinking, God, this is really complex. I don't know anything about it, so I just came to find out more because of what happened in Japan. I thought, God, I've got to take my responsibility and think about the earth we live on and what choices we make for the future.
I think, we really have to reduce the energy we use and we have to go for renewables, properly with proper political will.
Ultimately, all this research is being paid for by the public. And I think that it's very important that those who are paying should have the opportunity to come along and talk to those that they're paying to do it. I hope that the people that come along will get a good idea of the scale of some of the technical challenges that the research community is trying to address. Hopefully they'll get an understanding of some of the constraints that they have to work under, and hopefully they'll also get a feeling that the researchers are doing this not for their own pleasure, but they're trying to deliver something back to society as well.